Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be doing our daily transparency update as usual. So if you're new here, that just basically includes me talking about my gains or my losses for every single stock market day. And sometimes with these videos, we have some really good green days. And then on the other hand, like today in the normal market hours, we have some notable red days as well. And honestly, considering Tesla's history, a lot of us investors that have held this stock for a long time are already hardened to deal with days like today, even with the normal market hours being a 3.48% drop in the general perspective of Tesla. That is really not a huge drop compared to what we've seen before. However, in a general sense as well, with someone's portfolio, a 3.48% drop is pretty notable also. And we'll get into that in just a second as well, but as usual, of course, if you all do enjoy the transparency updates and the Tesla videos, please make sure to smash that like button. But just to go ahead and address Tesla's current share price, we are now at a share price of $593.50. And if we take a look at Tesla stock on Yahoo Finance, it shows the all-time high of Tesla stock for today reaching a share price of $607.80. So we actually hit another all-time high for Tesla stock today. Not an all-time high close with the normal market hours or anything like that, but it was still an all-time high, which is of course always a nice milestone, even if there is a pullback afterwards. And just addressing that pullback, let's just take a look at the portfolio for today. We are currently at a value of $237,458.88. And in the normal market hours today, we had a minus 3.48% drop. That was minus $8,149.05. And then in the after hours currently, we are at plus 5.09%, which is plus $11,495.45. And just to add some context to why we saw this notable movement upwards in the after hours, let's take a look at this tweet on Twitter by LiveSquawk. And this account tweets, Tesla S&P announces implementation of Tesla's addition to S&P 500. We'll add Tesla to S&P 500 prior to open on December 21st. S&P to add Tesla at full float adjusted market cap weight. So in basic terms, instead of having this purchase being made in multiple tranches with two separate purchases, it's just all going to be bought with one main purchase. And honestly, I think one major purchase is the way to go just to get it over with. Now, one could say that we now have just one definitive date of this major purchase happening. Therefore, you could say that a lot of short-term traders and simply just a lot of retail investors and institutional investors are going to be buying before this date rather than waiting before one of the two tranches. However, a lot of that even is unpredictable. So to just do it all at once, I think makes things a lot more simple. And as a Tesla investor, I have to admit, I just prefer for it to be this way. Like I said, one could probably debate on whether it would be better for the S&P 500 to have two separate tranches instead of just one full purchase, because it kind of spreads it out a little bit more rather than building up a lot of this investor hype before this event just on this one main day. But in general, I think this hype is just going to be occurring regardless of whether it's one purchase or two purchases on two separate dates. A lot of people, including institutional investors and retail investors, they're still likely going to be buying Tesla stock based on that inevitable purchase, whether it's on one day or two separate days. That's essentially one of the main reasons why we saw such a notable movement up in the after hours. For one thing, I think there's a lot of investors out there that are simply taking advantage of the deals on Tesla stock today, with it being on sale with this most recent drop. And on top of that as well, we have this announcement of just one major purchase, which is a big deal to a lot of people because it tells them, rather than having to worry about two separate dates for this buildup happening with the stock hype and simply more people wanting to get in on it before this purchase. So in that sense, we actually have less uncertainty on this purchase than there was before this announcement today, which is maybe why some could say why the stock was down a little bit. Now, keep in mind, the market in general was in the red today for the early part of the day. Now, at the end of the day, it started to recover a little bit. Tesla didn't really follow suit along with that trend until this announcement in after hours, which kind of propelled it upwards. So I just kind of wanted to address that explanation for why we saw such a notable movement upwards in the after hours, which actually ended up being more growth than the normal market hours movement today. And the only thing that I have to say about this, I always love a good movement in after hours, but I guess the unfortunate thing, the way that I look at it, is that number has to be maintained for the rest of the day tomorrow until the market closes at 4 p.m. And if it goes under like what it's currently at right now, let's say it maintains around this 4.80% 4.8% marker around that time period until it closes at 8 p.m. Well, it's going to have to maintain that or above that until 4 p.m. tomorrow to lock that movement in. And if it ends up going under, then it's kind of like we're already getting teased about tomorrow's movement, and there's that possibility of it just disappointing us a little bit if it ends up going under this 4.80%. So it kind of teases you ahead of time when there's that possibility of it going under its current movement. So I guess one could say that it's less of a surprise about tomorrow's movement. For example, to be surprised about tomorrow's movement, or at least to have our expectations beaten, it's going to have to maintain or go above this 4.83% marker, and that's already a pretty notable number to maintain. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not satisfied or excited about this movement in after hours, but that is one downside to having a big notable movement in after hours. I would much rather prefer a movement like this happen in the normal market hours, and then us being like minus 0.20 or plus 0.20% in the after hours, where it can pretty much go either way for tomorrow, because it just goes ahead and locks that movement in, especially when it's a notable movement like near 5% gain. With all of that being said, just to take a look at the actual stock's movement for today, we started out at 9 a.m. at plus 2.75%, actually started out pretty well, and then once the normal market hour started, this is when it kind of started to go downhill a little bit, with a few bounces here and there, with that general trend being downwards, all the way until this point at 10:45 a.m. And I know that a lot of people likely started to panic when it started going pretty far into the red here at minus 5.84%, especially when so many people have been used to seeing just constant growth out of Tesla the past couple of days, just consistent all-time highs. So I think a lot of people were surprised about this one, and I have to admit, even myself, I was kind of hoping that today would be another green day with this consistent pattern of movement upwards. But as we all know, eventually there has to be some slight pullbacks or some pauses between a general trend upwards, and if that trend is going to continue, which I think it will, then a day like this isn't really that surprising, because it gives it a chance to take a little breather before it possibly continues to go upwards again. But as you can see, it stopped at this 5.84% marker. That was at minus $13,664, and it stopped at this point because it seemed like people really started to take advantage of this sale. I already know that there's a ton of people out there that have been waiting for a big dip on Tesla stock, so I think this is why this rebound occurred, just because of the fact that there's so many people that have been waiting with cash on the sidelines for a notable dip for Tesla stock, that they were able to take advantage of this, and then it started to bounce back up as the demand rose a little bit more, and that continued until it hit this point at 11:35 a.m., and then it bounces all the way up to this point back over the line at plus 0.65%, then it goes back under the line, and we have this point near the midday at 12:55 p.m. at minus 1.92%, then some more volatility with not really any drastic movements until we hit this point at 3:05 p.m. That's when it starts to go down in that last hour of the day. This is really not a big surprise. Usually in that last hour in the normal market hours between like 3 to 4 p.m., that's when you really see the direction of where the stock is going to go, because that's when a lot of that last minute action happens. So we go to this point at 3:55 p.m. That's at minus 3.53%. Then we hit this low point at minus 0.66% at 4:05, and then we start to see the stock go up a bit. It hits this point at 4:20 p.m. It flatlines out a little bit until this point at 5:15 p.m. This was around the time of that S&P 500 inclusion news about the one major purchase, and then after that it pretty much surges upwards to this point at 5:25 with some more volatility here and there until now, which we are at plus 4.99%. So definitely not a boring day for Tesla stock at all. This was probably a day trader's dream just because of the volatility that we saw today, but in general I think this was a good opportunity for those out there that were looking for some deals and just were simply looking for some cheaper prices. That was a pretty solid opportunity for people to take advantage of this long-term investment. Just to add a bit more transparency with this video, we always like to address the time frames and how this changes. So we are currently at, for the past week, plus 9.85%. That is plus $21,269.65. For the past month, we are currently at 47.38%. That is plus $76,256.23. For the past 3 months, we are currently up 30.77%. That is plus $55,808.64. And then finally, for the past year, we are currently up 131.07%, which is $134,541.20. And then the same thing applies for the all-time chart as well, considering that I've been investing on Robinhood for under a year, and it's about to be the 1-year anniversary for this portfolio on December 2nd. So just a few days off from that, and then we'll finally be able to have a difference between the 1-year chart and the all-time chart. And so with that being said, just to check out Tesla stock's movement specifically for today and the all-time, like I said earlier, plus 1.20% gain when we include the difference between after hours and the normal market hours. That's a plus $3,040.88 gain. And then for the total return, we are currently at plus 78.76%, which is plus $115,923.19. With this video, I just wanted to have some transparency as usual and talk about Tesla stock a little bit and some of the news that we've seen recently, especially with the after hours as well. So as always, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. And also, definitely feel free to check out my referral links to Robinhood and Webull. For one thing, with Robinhood, you can get a free stock, and with Webull, you can get 4 free stocks in total right now. 2 for signing up with my referral link. Those can be valued up to $250, and then you can get another 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 if you deposit $100 into that Webull account. So, like I said, 4 free stocks in total, and for the 2 with a $100 deposit, you can take that $100 deposit right back out after you get your free stocks. That's what I did. So it's basically just free money, nice passive income with minimal effort, and it helps support the channel as well, which I really appreciate. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.